Why in the world Holy Spirit has me out here doing a video at 8:30 p.m. right as I get out of the gym? I have no idea, but here we are. So apparently the last video I posted kind of blew up a little bit, and no apologies. Not apologizing for that. It came from the heart. It came from him, big guy. I said what I needed to say, and this is basically like a follow-up video to it. So strap in, ladies and gentlemen, because here we go again. Evil can't win. It can never win. It never has won. It's seemingly won, but it never has. It's a false victory. It's an illusion. It's fairy dust, like that Matthew McConaughey sound says. I honestly don't know why Satan hasn't given up by now. I mean, 6,000 years of trying to beat God, and you still suck. And mind you, I know he's going to come after me for this. I have the Holy Spirit living inside of me. Do you think I'm scared of you? I'm not. So, let's go all the way back to the beginning, because in Genesis 12, we meet Abraham and Sarah. Well, really, Abram and Sarai. And they can't have kids. So, Satan decided to, try to shut her womb up. God opened it. She was 90 years old. She gives birth to Isaac in Genesis 18. Yeah, Genesis 18. And, consistently, God and Satan have played basically a checkmate throughout world history. And it's only continuously, it's the same thing has happened over and over and over again. I want y'all to realize something. Satan hates you. It may look like he wants you to have all the fun and do all the fun stuff. Listen, it's going to kill you. It may not kill you physically, but it'll kill you in here. Trust me. I know. It just will. So, listening to him is not worth it. But to follow up what I, said in the Charlie Kirk video, he's consistently tried to foil God's plans. Okay? He's consistently tried for 6,000 years. Jesus's bloodline came through Abram and Sarah. It came through David and Bathsheba, of all people. It came through Rahab, the prostitute from Joshua 2. Satan has continually tried to put a damper on that. Let's fast forward to, more recent times. I want you guys to think back to history class. We learned about Abe Lincoln's assassination, right? When John Wilkes Booth took him out, I'm a history nerd, I know, but hear me out. When John Wilkes Booth decided to take him out, he thought that the South would laud him as a hero, okay? He was from Virginia, I believe. Don't quote me on that, I think he was. But anyway, he was from Virginia, he was from the South. He thought that, it was going to cause another Southern uprising, all that good stuff. He thought it would work. And what actually happened is, as soon as he killed Lincoln, he fled down south. And it was people from his own, region that made sure they turned him in. Yankees were angry, and the Southerners were angry. Because no matter what you thought about Lincoln, that was still their president. And he did his darndest to unite the country in a time when they could not be united over slavery, over states' rights, all that good stuff. We'll start with that. And so what John Wilkes Booth did by taking out Lincoln was he reunited the country together. Let's fast forward some more. 1960s rolls around, and the Civil Rights Act comes out, right? People are campaigning for African Americans to be able to vote, and people of color. And Medgar Evers comes along, and he's one of the first secretaries of the NAACP in Jackson, Mississippi. And they take him out. What happens? Well, things just stamp up harder, right? Next, we had Kennedy, who was trying to help get the Civil Rights Act passed. What happens? They take Kennedy out. He goes down in history as one of the greatest presidents to ever live. Now, was his character questionable? Yes. But besides the fact, he had decent policies. Like I said, wasn't alive then, but from everything I hear, he was a very beloved man. And again, united the country more, right? Because they got the Civil Rights Act passed. And then Dr. King dies. More union. Everything led to more unity. When Stephen was martyred, not long after Jesus died and rose from the dead, and, the apostles received their spiritual gifts and the Holy Spirit, not long after Stephen died, what did Peter and Paul, they're out there, they're going 10 times harder for Christ than they were. Okay? Paul gets martyred. He gets his head cut off in Rome. What happens? Things blow up more. All of these individuals who have been martyred for their faith, who have been killed for trying to do what's right, who have been murdered for telling the truth, all it's doing is bringing people together to mourn together, to bond, to set aside their differences and say, you know what? Maybe we're not that different. So, with Charlie being murdered last week, all it's done is united our country. I've seen countless testimonies after testimonies after testimonies that say, because of Charlie, I started going to church again. Because of Charlie, I found Christ. Because of Charlie this. Because of Charlie that. All Satan is doing is causing more unity. Really, honestly, what it is Romans 8:28. God says, Paul says in that letter to the Romans, he says, we know that God causes all things to work together for good to those that love him, right? I posted a video a while back about the wheat and the tares. This is that time. The tares are being separated from the wheat. And the wheat. All this did was awaken a sleeping giant. To put it in biblical terms, all killing Charlie did, all they did, and I say they because we all know us conservative conspiracy theorists are like 12 out of 20, right? Or, 20 out of 20 as far as getting things right. But we all know that this was planned. All they did was bring more people to Christ. He's coming back. You awakened a sleeping giant. You awakened the Goliath of this country. You infuriated a widow. And you pissed off a whole country and drove them to the Lord. That's what 9/11 did too. All you're doing is making it easier for the Lord to come back and take his people home. Bring it.